Hey, what's up guys? It's Alex, and the 2020 iPad Pro has been out for a couple days now. When it was first announced, a lot of people were pretty ecstatic for it and excited for the new changes that were coming to the whole system. But now that it is here, we can take a look at it, and I've had it for a couple days now, and I've really been able to compare it against the 2018 iPad Pro, and I have some thoughts. I opted for the larger 12.9-inch variant in Space Gray 256, and it's nice that all the models do now include 6 gigs of RAM as opposed to the 4 gigs of RAM that they used to come with, other than the 1 terabyte model. So the first thing I noticed when I took it fresh out of the box was it looks the same. Same screen, same body, same antenna lines. Now, that was expected, of course. It wasn't supposed to be a total refresh. It's a minor refresh, and you do notice a difference on the back when it comes to the cameras. Similar, kind of taking inspiration from the current iPhones' triple camera design, not quite the same. It is a dual camera system with a LiDAR sensor instead of that telephoto camera, which I'm totally fine with seeing. Starting with the A12Z chip, which is now even more powerful than the A12X. So an already powerful chip is just more of a powerhouse now, and it's probably one of the fastest mobile processors on the market right now. Keep in mind, it's not a generational leap in performance, which is expected. It's a soft refresh. It's essentially the A12X with an extra GPU core unlocked. Now, one silent kind of upgrade that Apple made without mentioning much was that all the new models do come with 6 gigs of RAM now, as opposed to the 4 gigs of RAM that we've seen on the older models. So you're not gonna have to dish out all the money for the 1 terabyte model if you want that extra RAM bump. So they got you covered on that. With all those specs packed into that aluminum package, everything just flows. It's snappy, it's refreshing to use, multitasking, gaming, web browsing, there's not much struggling or hiccups at all. You're also gonna notice that a lot of the features that we've come to love from the 2018 iPad Pro are still here. The screen is still great, we're still getting USB-C, same light form factor, 240 Hz touch rate, 120 Hz refresh rate, still what we've come to love from the 2018 iPad Pro, it's still all here. And we also have the new inclusion of studio quality microphones on the new iPad Pro, which is something we've seen on the MacBook Pro. So it's nice to see that Apple is kind of throwing importance into the microphone game. So that's nice to see. Going from a studio quality microphone to the studio quality microphone on the iPad Pro, you can almost not even notice a difference. And sometimes some people have even said it sounds better on an iPad Pro. Apple also threw in onboard Wi-Fi 6 support, so if you got a router, you can take advantage of it. You still have the same 4 speakers that we had in the 2018 iPad Pro that are still awesome and sound excellent. Battery life is still top tier, especially on the 12.9-inch. You're getting day-and-a-half battery life, which is absolutely excellent. But let's talk about the serious upgrades that actually come with the 2020 iPad Pro, starting with the actual new camera system. When you flip it to the back, you're gonna notice there's now dual cameras, a 12 megapixel primary camera and a 10 megapixel ultra-wide camera. And then you're also gonna spot a little hidden sensor, which is that LiDAR sensor. So Apple decided to put this new LiDAR sensor on the new iPad Pro. Now, I've always been a big advocate for, is there a real big necessity to have such high quality cameras on the back of the iPad Pro? I'm pretty sure any camera would fly. I don't think a lot of people are using this really as a main camera, especially when most people that have an iPad, I assume, have a high quality camera on their phone already. And I can tell you another thing, that LiDAR sensor is most likely coming to the iPhone within the next update. So LiDAR in general is a pretty sophisticated technology when you actually dive into it. It's used on Mars rovers, it's used in autonomous driving, so to see it on a mobile like tablet is pretty interesting that such a sophisticated technology is coming to your general just iPad. This implementation seems to be another step Apple is taking towards AR on its device, and we'll probably see the sensor on more future projects. So overall, it's a really neat sensor. AR apps like the Measure app can take full advantage of it. You'll notice a more accurate and speedy measurement. And even if you use it for dropping furniture in a room, or just general measuring things, it's pretty cool, but I still don't think it's accurate enough to measure, let's say, mounting a picture on the wall like what a laser measurement tool could do. It's not that accurate yet, but it's cool to have. So if you're the type of person that uses a lot of AR-based applications, or just in general plays a lot of AR games, you're going to be able to take advantage of that sensor. You're gonna notice a general improvement, and it's nice to have. Now, is the technology there yet? I personally don't think it's to the point where it's laser accurate, but in the future, I'm sure we're gonna take more steps towards getting there. So that about wraps all the physical changes I've noticed on the device. Now let's get to some of the software-based stuff. There's now cursor support on the iPad, which is long overdue, and I'm happy to see it. So that means we're gonna start seeing a lot more iPad accessories that will have that integrated trackpad like the new Magic Keyboard. The new Magic Keyboard is pretty cool. It comes with a trackpad, backlit keyboard, USB-C pass-through port, and will allow your iPad to mount and float over the keys. It's really cool, and we're obviously going to see a lot of other companies go and make a trackpad, like Logitech, like Bridge, and their keyboards are probably not going to cost upwards of $300 like Apple. So we're going to definitely have to see what that keyboard is like in May, but if you're on a budget, I'm sure Logitech and Bridge are going to have much better options in terms of price to performance. But since the Magic Keyboard isn't here yet for the iPad, what I can tell you is I've been able to mess around with this guy. This is an Apple Magic Trackpad, and it works really good on the iPad Pro. When you actually have a Magic Trackpad paired with iPadOS 13.4, having an actual cursor on the iPad brings us kind of another step closer to the entire computer replacement experience. It'll also actively reverse its color to show up on dark or light backgrounds. That's actually pretty neat. And the cursor hasn't really been fully utilized by developers yet because it's so new and it doesn't work everywhere. Apps are going to need to get updated, and it's pretty typical when a new feature comes out like this. There's also new touch gestures that work really well with the trackpad. 3-finger swipe left or swipe right to move between apps. 3-finger swipe up to return home. 2 fingers swipe up and down to scroll. 4-finger pinch to open multitasking view. There's a bunch of new gestures that make flowing through the entire interface simple and buttery and just overall smooth. So if you don't already have an iPad and want to jump into the iPad market, I don't think the 2020 iPad Pro is worth it currently right now. The 2018 model has basically all the features, and you could get one refurbished from Apple for a couple $100 less than the 2020 model. Now, if you're really gung-ho on that LiDAR sensor or on that new camera, then you could go with the 2020 model. I think it's an absolutely unsurprisingly excellent tablet, still awesome from the 2018 model. But that being said, we've really come a far way when it comes to the iPad. Apple seems to be focusing more on the computer aspect of the iPad rather than just trying to make it an iPad. It's gone from a glorified massive iPhone when it first came out with iPadOS, basically turning it into something that can finally compete with a computer now. It's like a little Pokemon slowly evolving and getting better and better. So that's been the review, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. It's been Alex. Stay safe. Wash your hands.